The Light People, a short story by Heather Carter, narrated by the author. The burning tree landed inches from my car. I swerved, missing it narrowly. Falling trees were the least of our worries. The whole damn sky was coming down on us. Earth's last day was upon us. It had been 3 days since I'd slept, 3 days since the sirens blasted us awake. Now my children cowered in the back seat of our sedan while I whipped around cracked roads, boulders, and crashed vehicles, attempting to reach the safety of the deepest underground place I could think of. Marvel Cave in Branson, Missouri. "Mom, I think Lucas peed his pants," said Lydia, still holding her 11-year-old brother's hand. At 16, she wouldn't normally be caught dead doing so. All social norms had long since flown out the window the moment I pulled them from their beds in the middle of the night. "It's okay, sweetie. Mommy's a little busy right now, though." We passed the scene of a wreck. A large piece of extraterrestrial debris had fallen onto a truck, leaving a gruesome, mangled mess of glass and metal. My stomach twisted, and I forced myself to focus on the open slice of road ahead. It was not the first wreck like that we'd come across. Lucas sobbed, "I want Dad!" My husband was in Vegas on a work trip. When the Light People started showing up in every city and town, I'd called him immediately. Everyone thought they were angels at first. Pure white ribbons of light danced around their blank humanoid figures. They spoke in strange musical tones. Churches held revivals in the streets, thinking it was the rapture. My instincts told me otherwise. That's when their ships came and hell opened up from the sky. Whomever the Light People touched died a bloody death, hemorrhaging profusely from their orifices. The sirens went off, and I lost all communication with Maddox. I prayed to whatever higher power was left that he had found somewhere safe. "I want Dad too," I confessed, "but I'm sure he's okay. Dad's really smart and he'd know what to do." A sound filled the car, and my blood turned to icy slush. Soft, beautiful music. It rose from the floorboards, vibrating through the gas pedal. The kids screamed behind me as a strong glow formed in the passenger seat. Glancing to my right, I saw the dancing ribbons of light brushing over the bottom of the seat as it blossomed upward, attempting to take form. I bit back a scream of horror and whipped the car onto the side of the road, throwing off my seat belt. "Get out!" I shouted at my children. The moment I leapt out of the car and reached the back door handle, the lock engaged. Lydia's wide eyes met mine through the window. "Open the door, Lydia!" She yanked on the handle from the inside. "I'm trying, it won't open!" The front driver's side door was stuck fast now. I ran around to the other side of the car, but a tentacle of light shot out and wrapped itself around the inner handle, blocking my attempts to pull it open. The kids shoved themselves against the opposite door, screaming as the light slowly encroached on their space. Kicking at the front door, I shouted at the being, "Leave them alone, you son of a bitch!" It had no effect. I had to think fast. The trunk! Zipping around the back of the car, I threw open our trunk. The defective latch hadn't worked in months, leaving it able to be opened easily. My eyes scanned the various tools and junk before grabbing the first metal thing I could get my hands on. I slammed the trunk shut and began wailing on the back window with the crowbar. My muscles screamed and my heart thrashed behind my ribs like an angry gorilla. Like hell was that thing going to lay one finger on my kids. Lydia's cries interspersed with the sound of each whack. "Hurry, Mom, hurry!" The glass shattered at last. I barely had time to clear a big enough hole before I yanked them through. They were not small children anymore, but my adrenaline didn't care. We flew into the forested hills, turning only when we heard an awful explosion. A dump truck was now up in flames, having slammed into the back of our parked vehicle. Lucas clung to my waist and sobbed. "Jeff was in there!" "It's just a stuffed dolphin," said Lydia numbly as she stared at the orange glow. I shot her a sharp look before kissing the top of Lucas's head. "I'm sorry, honey." "Are we safe?" His teary gaze met mine. "Or are we gonna die?" If only I had the answer to that. "Come on." I reached for Lydia's hand. "Let's get going." We pressed on for hours, stumbling through the forest undergrowth, up steep banks, zigzagging down ravines, crossing creeks. The only thing I had to go on was the general knowledge of where the road was and our trips out to Silver Dollar City over the years. We'd long moved to Illinois, but we still made the pilgrimage almost every summer. The kids were uncharacteristically silent. Without video game systems and tablets, we were all lost in our own heavy thoughts. There were things like black bears and snakes in the Ozarks, but those things seemed no more dangerous than kittens now that monsters had come from space. Looking up, I could see one of their ships now. Black, shaped like a double-ended arrowhead, and as wide as 4 city blocks. The sight sent chills racing through me. Soon this part of the forest would probably be on fire, just like the rest. The ground jolted, sending us sprawling to the forest floor. My knee collided hard with a rock. I crumpled up, howling in pain as lightning shot through my leg. "Mom, are you okay?" cried Lucas, clutching my arm and shoulder in a panic. Once I caught my breath, I pushed myself up to sit and looked at my knee. It was bleeding and already puffing up. When I attempted to straighten it, my vision nearly went white. "I think it's broken or something," I said through gritted teeth. Lydia whimpered. "What are we gonna do?" Lucas was already pulling off his shirt. I blinked up at him through bleary eyes. "What are you doing?" "Lydia, get some sticks. We're gonna make a splint just like Dad showed us that one summer on the float trip." She leaped up and searched in the shadowy vicinity. The moon was full but partially blocked by the ominous ship. My heart lurched at the thought of her getting lost, and I urged her to stay close. The pain was nearly unbearable as the kids helped straighten my leg. I let several colorful words fly into the night as they put sticks on either side and tied Lucas's torn shirt around it. Though I was never a very outdoorsy girl, I was exceedingly grateful for every lesson that Maddox had taught them. As Lydia was tying the knot, the ground jolted again, and again it growled to life. Soon the trees around us were waving and creaking. Branches broke and crashed to the ground in the darkness. "Earthquake!" shouted Lucas over the din. More than just an earthquake. The telltale ribbons of light from the deadly creatures formed in the forest all around us, splitting the night with a garish glow. As far as the eye could see, they dotted the landscape. 4 floated in our direction, gliding effortlessly over the shaking ground. "Run!" I screamed at my children. "No, I'm not leaving you," said Lucas. Lydia grasped my arm. "Neither am I. We stay together, remember?" Scanning the area, we were completely surrounded. It was futile. With a heartbroken nod, I brought them into my arms. "Okay, together then." Above us, ports opened beneath the ship, emitting bright streams of fire that began methodically sweeping the forest. If the beings didn't get us, the fire would. I held my children to my chest and sang them a lullaby I used to sing when they were little, closed my eyes, and thought of every beautiful moment we'd had together. And there were many. Just when I thought it would end, a scream-like horn blasted from above. I opened my eyes to see an even bigger object descending from the sky above the smaller ship. Shaped like a disc, the metallic object opened a giant portal in its belly, and blue light blasted downward, evaporating the smaller ship. The light people released a simultaneous shriek and vanished into smoke. We stared, flabbergasted, as the enormous ship now hovered silently, sweeping blue beams over the landscape, dousing the flames and snuffing out our enemy. Earth quieted once again. Looking to the paling sky, I whispered, "Thank you," and held my children tighter. The end. Thank you for listening to The Light People. If you enjoyed this story, please be sure to check out my other books on Amazon. Thank you so much, and I hope you have a wonderful day.